Yeah. Or you could also, talk to your senator. I mean, right into Bush's Baked Beans saying, sponsor that podcast. The one called Chill Filter. Welcome once again to Chill Filter, the podcast where we drink whiskey so you don't have to. But you probably should. You probably are. Hey, that's why we like you. We're drinking a banger today, apparently. Neither of us have had it, though, right?
No, I have not. Yeah.
Perfect.
I promise I didn't just swig off the top of the sample bottle. Yeah, no, I didn't.
That's good. That's a first for a while, I feel like. That neither of us have like had any taste of what we're drinking. Yeah. Wait, did the BuffTurkey, you had that one though, right? Or was that a new one for both of us?
That was from no. So I didn't have that one, but I had BuffTurkey before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I guess that counts as, a recent one where you didn't have the exact thing we were drinking.
Totally, because from what I hear, they are all over the board. Like there's a sentiment about single barrels being different, but apparently BuffTurkey barrels are all over the board.
Really? That makes sense, because like some are really hyped and some are like meh. So
100%.
Yeah. I was thinking about that actually. Before we get into the business, I was thinking about the what Wild Turkey was thinking in rejecting those barrels or deciding not to use those barrels. What was going through their mind? Were they like, crap, this is better than our regular stuff? That's what I think. I think they were like, I mean, don't get me wrong, I love Wild Turkey. Wild Turkey is one of my top distilleries of bourbon, especially. But like my top distillery, I hate to say it, is Buffalo Trace. Like they make such good product that it's like, and it's right up my like tasting alley. I like fruity, I like sweet, I like candy. Those kind of notes show up in appley, and those kind of notes show up a ton with Buffalo Trace. But they also, the fruity, and it's just not as much appley on Wild Turkey. But I wonder if they were like, man, crap, this is so much better than our regular stuff that we can't. But it might just be different as opposed to better.
Yeah. I mean, nonetheless, I'm sure it's off profile to some extent.
Yes.
But I have trouble believing that it's better. I have trouble believing that they would think that they'd be like afraid to release something so good. And it's like, how do we explain what this is? We can't just tell everybody that Buffalo Trace distilled this.
Yeah. That's a good point.
But anyway.
I mean, that's the thing is like when you're trying to be consistent in your product, off profile is, big deal. So no, it's cool. But yeah, a lot of people are doing well. I mean, I don't know how many, there must have been a buttload of barrels that were BuffTurkey, because they were working for at least a year to make Wild Turkey barrels. It was what I hear.
Yeah.
And everybody, Wild Turkey had a huge production to begin with. So yeah.
Yeah, everybody's mega hyped on the couple hazmat ones that have come out.
Oh, nice.
There's a Dark Arts 5th or 16 maybe year hazmat that I think it's 15. Everybody's freaking out about currently. I think on secondary they're getting listed for like 2,500. I haven't seen one actually like move, but $2,500, man, I can't believe it.
Dude, I got so much better things to spend $2,500 on.
I know, right? You could buy 5 Heaven Hill 19s.
Yeah, exactly. True, or more. What's the Heaven Hill 19 running on secondary? Oh, you said it was like 5 or 6.
Yeah, it's around 5, low 5s.
Okay.
Yeah, right. I'm really excited, really interested. But first, do you have any business for us?
So here's the business this week. We are on Instagram, and if followed us, we're Chill Filtered Podcast. And if you haven't reached out, and as Robbie used to say, reach out and touch us. If you haven't done that, then you can just send us a message. We're down to talk. Like I don't know, I appreciate people like even Cody Clark's reached out a few times and like stuff like that. Some newer listeners and stuff. Like we love hearing from you. Older listeners too, not in age, but in how long they've been listening. Such young people as Ben Klepsig. Always down to reach out. We love that stuff. So we're down to talk. If you want to talk whiskey or what we talked about on the podcast, hit us up on Instagram. What were you going to say?
So I cannot believe that we did not discuss this during the drink along.
Yeah.
Because about 30 minutes before the drink along, we got a message from Ben Klepsig.
Dude, the man himself met Duke from Bush's Baked Beans, the dog, and got to talk to the Bush's Baked Beans people at a conference, like a food related conference in Chicago. And I was like, how in the world? And I was like, did you talk to Duke about our proposal? Which is a real thing for everyone. Like, I sent a, letter, it wasn't handwritten, but it was typed out letter to Bush's Baked Beans saying, hey, would you sponsor us? We've been sponsoring you. It died there. But maybe I'll just send another while we're fresh on their minds. So especially Duke's mind. Put a little doggy bone in there.
Ben was like, I was talking to everybody that would listen to me about it,
nice.
But everybody was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, they were like busy with some giveaway or something like that. But thank you, Ben. That's a baller move right there. So like we talk about this. One of the businesses we can talk about is tell your friends, or you could tell Bush's Baked Beans. So
everyone
that is
right
one
into
way.
Bush's.
Yeah. Or you could also, talk to your senator. Right into Bush's Baked Beans saying, sponsor that podcast, the one called Chill Filtered.
You're right into your Bush's Baked Beans state representative.
Exactly.
Every state has two. Yep.
Yep. Exactly. At least.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, I am excited. This weekend is Memorial Day. I don't have any plans, but it'd be nice. Like, this is like the first work holiday since January, I want to say, for me.
Yeah. December for me.
Yeah.
Well, January 1st, I guess. Yeah.
Oh, I guess, yeah. But still, it almost doesn't count. You don't get like President's Day off. Isn't that like the 15th or something? No.
We only get the corest of core government holidays off.
Wow.
Yep.
That stinks. Well,
I think there's like seven or so.
Yeah. I could see that. The first, Memorial Day, 4th of July,
Labor Day,
Christmas, Labor Day. Yeah, that's about it.
Yeah,
but
that is about
do you get good PTO? Like, what's your PTO? Yeah,
pretty decent. I think the like brand new employee start rate is like 3 weeks a year.
Nice,
and then it goes up from there. I think I'm somewhere around 4 weeks a year now.
Nice.
Yeah.
The industry standard for what I work in is 4 starting.
Nice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. But I, don't work in a government related jobby.
That's true.
So,
yeah. Busy time at the Rap House here. Sam's got her her yearly convention that her company puts on, where they invite a couple hundred people out from the industry and they have some like seminars and Q&A stuff and everything. Nice. And they host it at one of the big casinos here in Phoenix.
Nice.
And but she's on the marketing team, so they're all running around like crazy, making everything be all super pretty and post pictures afterwards with summaries and create web pages for blah 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 and all that stuff. So
do they have a company dog mascot?
I wish. They all wish, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I know there's somebody at well, I don't know if they're still there anymore, but there was somebody at her company who had a corgi that they would bring into the office every now and then, and the corgi's name was Pickle.
I love it. There's some good names out there, and that's a good corgi name.
That is a good corgi name. Yeah.
Did I ever tell you I had a dream that gave me the pet name, especially for a small dog, of Crouton? I always thought that would be a great name.
Oh, that's cute. Yeah, right. I love it.
Little puppy or a little dog.
Yeah. The latest check-in from Sam says their 300 customers drank 11 gallons of coffee in 2 hours after breakfast, which also had free coffee.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot of coffee.
A lot of coffee drinking over there.
I'll mess with you. Yeah.
Right.
No, that's funny. Yeah, nothing crazy coming. We basically went into this episode saying like I don't have much to talk about for Shooting the Breeze.
Yeah.
But my parents are coming into town next week.
You got any plans? Any particular things?
Yeah. Well, my dad's a big history dude, so maybe Richmond's full of history, so like there's like a lot of cool stuff you could hit up. They also like, since my daddy's going through chemo, he is not like, he doesn't have a ton of energy. He likes to take naps, which I totally get. And And so we might not go out too much, but we do want to. We're hoping to go to a few restaurants that we like, as well as like I said, maybe some historical stuff. But
Nice.
otherwise, it'll be nice because I'm taking 3 days off while they come,
Cool.
and the girls will probably be in daycare for 2 of those 3 days of like the work week wise. And so I kind of enjoy that. Like I might, and my wife's probably going to be working most of those days too. So I'll be just hanging out with my parents. So it should be nice.
Nice. Yeah, I've got the same kind of thing in 3 weeks over
Nice.
Father's Day and my birthday.
One day later,
my brother and his whole family are coming in, and my mom's coming in too. So we're all going to have some pool days, and we're going to go to a Diamondbacks game and everything. So it should be good. Yeah. We're going to a Diamondbacks game on his son's birthday. And so like I'm hoping that'll be a memorable birthday for the little guy.
Win. How are they doing? I don't even know.
I don't follow.
They're playing games. That's all I know.
Yeah. I enjoy watching, as we've discussed.
It's so much fun to watch.
I enjoy watching almost anything but basketball. I can't do basketball.
Rough. Yeah, I can't get better.
Yeah. But
I can totally watch baseball. Yeah.
Never cared.
What's that other sport?
Wins or loses though.
Football. I can watch, but it's less enjoyable to me than than baseball.
Baseball's the ultimate like kick back.
Yeah.
Eat a hot dog.
Yeah.
Just relax. Like football's a little more like I'm kind of on the edge of my seat, and I'm like interested in
every play.
Sometimes the plays go really quick and blah blah blah. But like baseball is like
you hear the click of the bat and you're like, oh, what's going on? You know?
Exactly. Yeah. And I'm 100% okay with that level of like focus.
Yeah. I went to a few Diamondbacks games while I was there. It was nice. I had a coworker that had a roommate that worked for the Diamondbacks, and then on top of that, I have an aunt, sort of. Here's how it goes. I don't have to explain this, but I'm gonna. Okay, my grandfather's brother had a wife, and my grandfather's brother sadly passed only so far into being married to this wife, but he had 2 Seabalds. As kids before he passed, and he passed, like I said, pretty young. Anyway, she remarried, which is, and she's like the sweetest woman ever. She's like, I want to say she's in her mid 80s. Aunt Pat, shout out. But she's like the sharpest 80-some-year-old woman like ever. Like she's so funny and like so witty, and awesome. She's playing on her top game. Nice. Anyway, Pat has a daughter via Seabald name that her husband worked for the Diamondbacks. He was like a big deal too, apparently, for the Diamondbacks. So he got us nice tickets one day, and they watched our daughter at the time, who was only like 2 or 3 months old. And this was our first experience getting babysitting since she was born, when we did go, when she was so young. But Heather was like terrified the whole time. Like she was so anxious the whole time. She's like, why don't we leave? I'm like, it's the 3rd inning. And I'm like, let's at least go to the 4th or 5th inning. And then we left after like the 5th inning. And we got back and they're like, you're back so soon? And Heather was like, I just was worried. And it's kind of offensive though, if you're babysitting someone and then they're worried, or the other way, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
but I was like, they understood.
You'd get
First
it.
kid.
You'd get it.
Yeah.
If you were the babysitter, I mean, you'd get it. I feel like it'd be easy to not take it personally and to be like, okay, they were just, a little
especially
too worried.
Yeah.
Well, for sure. Yeah. But I'm also definitely a early leaver from baseball games too.
Oh yeah.
It goes hand in hand with the fact that I don't care who wins.
Yeah.
It's like the 7th inning stretch rolls around and I'm like, I could go.
I can't tell you, like it's been a while. I've only seen like in the past like 10 years, I've only seen probably 4 baseball games, like MLB games. And the last 2 I left early. And then one in Colorado. I think I watched that full game. And then the one of the best games I ever saw was I think it was the Rays against the Red Sox. We saw them at Fenway. I want to say it was the Rays. No, I don't think it was. I forget who they were playing. The Red Sox were playing at Fenway, and Heather and I were in Boston. And it was towards the end of the season, right before the playoffs. And all I can say is it wasn't like a walk-off home run, but Big Poppy, what's his name? Everyone knows who I'm talking about. John Hughes is yelling at his car right now. Big Poppy.
I was hoping you were
David Ortiz. David Ortiz. He hit a home run that didn't like finish the game, but it solidified the win for the Red Sox. So it was kind of a fun game.
Yeah, nice.
But that's all I know about baseball. David Ortiz and stuff. Yeah, nice. I think his name's David Ortiz. But anyway,
you get to have a little pre-Father's Day celebration with your dad in town too. That'll be good.
Yeah, that's a good point. Maybe I should get him a Father's Day gift while he's here.
Probably a good idea.
Speaking of gifts, I think I figured out what I'm going to get you for your birthday.
Oh man,
which is less than a month away.
Yeah, I've been brainstorming because you're not too long after me, so I've got some ideas, but I'm just I'm hoping some pieces fall into place naturally without having to try too hard.
Yeah,
I'm into pieces falling into place.
Yeah, I'm into that. No, but it's funny because up until this week, I was like, I don't know, like it's so hard being in Virginia. Yeah. And you don't get access to a lot of standout stuff, especially where I'm at. Like I'll get allocated stuff, but I don't get like allocated stuff that you can't find often.
Yeah,
but I think I figured something out. So,
well, you're our Heaven Hill 19 provider today. So shout out to Cole Seabald.
Yeah, that's me, everyone. I don't know if I've ever been baller dinged before. Have I?
First time for everything.
So. Yeah. All right. What are you entry buzzing on before we get into it?
I was going to say entry buzz. I have a feeling we're entry buzzing on the same thing.
I want to say we would have been if I found that bottle.
Oh, couldn't find it?
But I found a similar bottle.
Okay.
But go on.
Yeah. I got the old Bernheim barrel proof here.
That's what I would have had. Yeah.
And you know why. I know you know why.
Yep.
Same mash bill with the Heaven Hill 19. Yep. So here it is right here. And I'll tell you what.
Barrel proof.
Yeah.
But this one.
And barrel proof. Yeah. So I'm going a little light on this. I didn't want to do a big pour because I didn't want to knock myself out proofy wise before the 19. But I did also use my handy dandy espresso scale.
Ooh.
And I metered out here. I proofed my Bernheim barrel proof down to 100 proof.
Nice.
So that's in a glass over here on the side, ready to go. So I can compare 100 proof Bernheim versus 100 proof Heaven Hill 19.
That's a good idea. Yeah. Is there an age statement? Is it 7 years on the Bernheim, or that's the standard Bernheim is 7 years?
If there's an age statement, it's in the middle of a sentence on the side of the bottle that I'm reading here. With wheat whiskey aged from 7 to 9 years.
Okay, so older, but I guess same. Yeah. I wanted to do that, but I think I gave away my bottle of batch 1. I don't think I finished it.
Yeah.
But I decided to just go. I didn't have any other wheat whiskeys on my shelf other than that. But I decided to go wheated bourbon from Heaven Hill at barrel proof. So I got the B521 of the Larceny barrel proof.
I started pulling out all my Heaven Hill here. I'm actually I have a smattering here. I've got my Bernheim, I've got the Larceny I just held up, and I've got my old Fitzgerald, the 8-year, which I like the most of between the 8 and the 10 year that I have.
Yeah.
And Elijah Craig C923. I don't know if the mood strikes me and I need a little sip of something to remind me what it's like. I've got it all here, but otherwise during the pour, I'm just going to be Bernheim versus Heaven Hill 19. And the Bernheim barrel proof, man, at least it's got a great tobacco and like wet oak, wet wood note that I'm very, very hopeful for this Heaven Hill 19. I'm very excited to try.
Speaking of which, we're going to cork pop and pour before we even go to break because we should let this one breathe a little bit. So here we go.
And you've got a bottle,
cool box.
Oh my gosh, it's pretty. Wait, are you doing that with your thumb, or do both sides open when you pull
Both
one
sides
side?
open. Yeah.
Dang. So there's a little mechanism in there so that both open
Yeah.
at the same time. That's cool.
I wonder how much that costs per bottle.
Right.
All right. So yeah, this is exciting because neither of us have drank this.
I know.
This is 6 ounces low because I poured 2 pool samples for each of us, and then your episode.
Yeah.
sample.
That was a squeaky little.
It was. I forgot to bring it to the mic, but
no, it was very audible. It was good.
Oh, good. All right, here we go. So let's send it to a quick break, and we'll be right back. We'll talk history of the Heaven Hill Heritage Collection. Bryan, I got a package today. No return address, just a handwritten note that said, "It's time." Inside, a small box and a slightly warm egg.
Was the egg talking?
Not at first, but about 5 minutes later, it whispered, "I'm Frank. Use me wisely."
Is this the ad?
I don't think so. Apparently, Frank is the product. There's no instructions, no branding, just the egg and the deep, unshakable sense that my life is going to change.
So what does Frank do?
He watches. Sometimes he hums softly when you make decisions. Last night, I sneezed and Frank rolled 2 inches closer to me.
So this week's sponsor is Frank?
Frank. Not a product, not a service, just Frank.
Available nowhere. He finds you.
And we're back. And we got history. So I'm excited about this history because, we've talked about, it's actually been a while since we talked about Heaven Hill Distillery history, Max Shapiro and all that crap. But we're just going to talk about the Heritage Collection today. There's 4 bottles, or 4 bottles. Nope, 5 bottles. Nope.
I think technically the very first one
this is
was not part of the,
Oh, you're right. It was like a 27 year or something like that.
Yeah. I believe after that bottling, they began the Heritage Collection. But maybe that's in your history. Sorry if I'm stepping on.
No, I didn't cover that. But although I did come across it. So, but anyway, some quick notes to get to. We're doing a drink along, very likely. We'll send out the details very soon. This coming Saturday, probably in the afternoon for everyone. So. Keep an eye out. That's the last day of May. We wanted to do 2 in May. We're probably going to pull it off. So, and another shout out to our latest Patreon member who joined last drink along, Domingo Corona.
Hello.
What a baller. Thank you so much for supporting. And he'll be on the tier to receive drink along samples.
So we just received drink along samples, and then now, boom, another one's going to come out here soon.
Soon, and they're going to be bangers. So far, we've got 2 out of the 3 pours.
That's right.
And they're going to be bangers. Like I know a lot of people that would be very excited for the 2 we've gotten already. So we just got to keep an eye out. Hey, if you're, come across 2 or 3 bottles of something special, let us know, and maybe we can, take it off your hands, whether it be if you find it at a store or you're willing to let us, get it from you in some monetary way.
I was going to say, take it off your hands and you'll be compensated appropriately.
Yeah, you will be compensated. So this is our first Heaven Hill Heritage Collection on the podcast.
Exciting.
Yeah, but it's not our first Heaven Hill product on the podcast. So what I decided to do, like I said, was make it more about the Heritage Collection. So the launch year, believe it or not, we're 4 bottles deep into this Heritage Collection. Launch year was 2022, so somewhat recently. Remember 2022?
Nope.
I remember the beginning. We were still in COVID mode. It was crazy.
Yeah, I don't, man. No idea.
Dude, that was a time. We have changed. This whole world has changed. Anyway,
I know, right?
They do release these every spring or even like late winter, I want to say. Purpose, they want to showcase. This is cool. Like when I looked it up, I was like, what is special about the Heritage Collection? Because, it's like, it's as if, Buffalo Trace decided to put out a really special collection that they do every year that is different than the antique collection. And they do for certain things. I don't know, like EHT special releases and
That's what I was
stuff.
going to say. Yeah.
Yeah. So, but the cool thing is that you look at it like this, like Buffalo Trace does E.H. Taylor special editions, and they're experimental. Meanwhile, the antique collection is not so much experimental, but it is well-aged, well-proofed, usually. Usually, But that's basically what's going on here, is that Parker's Heritage, the other collection they do, is more experimental, while the Heritage collection, 1 bottle a year, not 5 bottles a year, but either way, is more about age and proof, but more so age. Like they want to do that. So anyway, they basically just wanted to feature... each release will feature one of the distillery's 6 traditional American whiskey mash bills. And they're just going for well-aged and just exceptional whiskeys. And like I said, it's a little less experimental, a little more like just pretty much going to be like a older whiskey. Said that like 5 times now, so we got the...
But yeah, a showcase of each mash bill each year. Yeah.
And like, so they, it's only been 4 deep. And we've only done 3 mash bills so far, but we'll get to that.
Interesting.
So, what makes it special? Extra aged expressions. Each release highlights some of Heaven Hill's oldest stocks, often aged at least 15 years. The Nashville variety is special too. Their intention is to get through all 6, which I guess there's the wheated, there's the rye, there's the corn, there's the wheat. And then there's 2 others, I guess, that...
I don't even know.
So anyway, we'll get to it. Maybe later. They're also pretty transparent. Cool thing about this is that on the labels, they provide quite a bit of detailed information, including mash bill composition, distillation, and bottling dates, warehouse locations, and even barrel counts, usually. And then they're pretty limited in availability. Like, some of these only had like 100 or so barrels for the whole country for that year, so makes it exclusive, makes it much allocated, makes it fun when you see one on a shelf like I did. All right, so let's talk about the first release. This came out in 2022. It was a 17-year-old barrel proof Kentucky straight bourbon, standard rye, or it's technically not a rye. I mean, it is a rye mash bill, but it's higher malty bees than rye. So it's a 78% corn, 10% rye, 12% malty bees, which is their Elijah Craig mash bill, maybe even known as their Henry McKenna mash bill. Same one. It's a blend of a 17, 19, and 20-year bourbons. Proof is 118.2, and apparently I even got the barrel sources. Apparently Deatsville, Glencoe, Shenley, and Heaven Hill main campus warehouses they got these from. MSRP was $275. Then 2023 rolls along, a little less COVID messy. It was a 20-year Kentucky straight corn whiskey. It's basically mellow corn at 20 years. So I love how MFC is such a thing in the industry. I'm not going to explain it, but some people would understand. If you know, you know. Mash bill was 80% corn, 12% malty bees, and 8% rye. Age was 20 years old. Uh-oh. No one needs to know who's at the front door doorbell.
Oh, I thought Google was correcting you.
No, that'd be funny. Yeah, and it's age 20 years, proof 115 on a 20-year whiskey. And they only had 110 barrels for that one. MSRP was $290. So they're all pretty expensive.
Whatever.
They're all more expensive than your average EHT special edition, or at least the MSRP.
Yeah.
Or, antique collection. So anyway, the 2024 rolls around and we get an 18-year Kentucky straight bourbon. Same mash bill as the first one, 78% corn, 10% rye, 12% malty bees. Age was 18, proof was 120. Was not barrel proof. Barrel count was 133. And there was the warehouse location was 3rd floor of Rick House 1I. That's all I know. MSRP was 300. And then there's what we're drinking today. It's the 2025 19-year Kentucky Straight Wheat Whiskey. We are not drinking a bourbon. Even though it has a decent amount of corn, we are not drinking a bourbon. This is a wheat whiskey. It is a mash bill of minimum wheat, 51%. Minimum to be called a wheat whiskey. 51% corn, 37% corn, and 12% malty bees. Age, like I said, 19. Proof, 100. And there was a lot more barrels for this one. There was 277 barrels. And the warehouse location of aging was 5th and 6th floors of Rick House Y. $2.99 retail. That's what I got.
Cool.
I got. So let's yeah.
Wheated bourbon mash bill. Missing that one. They haven't done that yet. Which would be larceny, right?
Yeah. Larceny or Johnny
rye.
Old Fitzgerald.
Rye whiskey mash bill.
Oh yeah, totally.
Yeah, dude. If there's a
rye.
Heaven Hill Heritage Collection rye, dude, I'm all
dude.
in
That'd be
on
killer.
That. Yeah, for sure.
You ever had Pikesville? I'm sure you had a Pikesville.
I don't.
It's their standard rye.
No, I have not.
Besides Elijah Craig rye. You never had Pikesville?
I don't think so.
Last time I had it, it was very honey. Surprisingly honey. Yeah.
And it's a rye?
Yeah, Pikesville rye. You never heard of Pikesville rye?
Hey, I got a lot of things.
Bottle, you'll be like, I've seen that.
Got a lot of things rattling around up in here.
It's okay. Me too.
Yeah.
And then what's the last? Wait, was that all? That was all 6. Yeah.
Well,
Wheat,
I'm also
seeing bourbon, rye whiskey, and
so there's some experimental mash bills like in their grain to glass stuff. Maybe
gotcha.
Maybe they got some newer experimental stuff going on, but at least those 5 are like some like core 5 that we really know about with standard releases of and everything.
All right, let's give it the old spin, Jay. Take a nose.
Here we go.
Nosedive. I heard some people say, "Ooh, it's great nose." I've heard some people say that this is like rivaling William LaRue. Yeah. Like, I want to say the Bourbon Junkies. I want to say Dan from the Bourbon Junkies said this rivals Willie LaRue.
Nose is medium high intensity. There's you can tell this is going to be an experience whiskey. This is going to take you places. I'm getting like a medicinal cherry up front, and a really good amount of oakiness.
Yeah, I was gonna say like a very like between a maraschino and like a sweet dark cherry that you can get in like the frozen food section where you freeze them.
Yeah, and almost chocolatey, not like a dark bitter chocolate, but like a milk chocolatey, almost just a smidge. Oof. I went and nosed my Bernheim at 100 proof, and it's way brighter, riper fruit. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. Ooh, it is good and pleasant. I was worried right at the end. I'm like, is this gonna go south? Like, is it gonna get too bitey? And it didn't. It stayed good. Quick notes on the palate off of first sip, but I'll give more once I take another sip. A little bit of chocolate on the front, like dark chocolate, good dark chocolate. Oak shows up in entirety, and that dark chocolate does come with that cherry still. It kind of fades in a good way into a little more oak, but it's sweet throughout. But it's like on this line of sweet that's like, if you go any less, it would seem too oaky. But if you go any more, or rather, I don't know what I was just saying. So the sweetness, if you were to go less sweetness, it would be too oaky. But if you were to go higher, it would go maybe not mature enough. But this is mature. You can tell this has got some age.
I see exactly what you mean. And the landing right up front, it's thinner than I expected.
Mm-hmm.
So it kind of had me questioning, like, where's this going to go? Like, is this going to have the body to carry it through to be the experience that I wanted it to be? And it barely makes it experience wise. The mouthfeel almost like thickens a little. It thickens in your mouth. The old
in your mouth
chill filtered meme.
Yeah.
There's a honey presence that comes in mid palate that kind of gives me the feeling that it's got a little more weight to it.
Honey, I
but
like that.
But overall, the amount of oakiness hits me like Elijah Craig 18, where Elijah Craig 18 is way too thin and it's way too oaky for such little body that's in Elijah Craig 18. This, I guess, thanks to being slightly higher proof, thanks to being 100 proof, it's got a little more body to carry it through, where it's like, this is at a minimum what Elijah Craig 18 should be.
I agree.
And I think it barely skirts by here with having a thick enough mouthfeel and a nice honey sweet, a little bit of spice. The finish is pretty long too. And it's I could see how this might be overwhelming if it was too much higher than 100 proof too.
That's a great point. It might be too oaky.
Yeah. And it might be too like confusing and jumbled.
Yeah.
Like, it might be too spicy and it might be too, I don't know. I could make up a bunch of things, but I feel like go ahead.
No, yeah, I was just saying the oak is very well balanced here. I'm getting a lot of cherries still, like dark, sweet cherries. The chocolate's a little gone, but the oak is present, but it's sometimes oak can be overdone, but sometimes oak is so well balanced with the age and maturity of the whiskey with a 19-year like this that it just goes together. But I do think you can overage and over oak just by age. But this is really good. I actually really like this. I don't know if this competes with William LaRue. I think it does, but not like some of the better William LaRues that I've had. I think this actually does compete. Yeah.
I think the best thing about this is the finish. The finish is a really nice, really long baking spice, like cinnamon, nutmeg a little bit, not super sweet like Amburana or something ridiculous like that, but it's a very pleasant, slightly bitter baking spice that tingles for a really long time. Overall though, I think what it's missing is corn sweetness, from a weeded bourbon mash bill, maybe that might have a little more of that thick corn sweetness. Cole just lit up like a Christmas tree, so go ahead.
Yo, great nose with a few drops of water.
Okay, good.
Great nose. Like, reminds me of like a really nice weeded bourbon, like a really sweet one.
Oh my gosh. I took one sip of my Bernheim at 100 proof and I don't need any more of that.
You've moved on.
Yeah. Especially after the Heaven Hill 19. There is too much youthy whiskey in the Bernheim, as you'd expect, but sometimes you get surprised a little bit. This isn't a surprise. Absolutely. I get the same baking spice tingliness going on here and the same kind of lack of corny sweetness, but the Bernheim is like hilariously more youthy than
funny
at 100 proof than the Heaven Hill 19. So I'll go to water now too.
The front of the palate for the water pour. So some of the notes I was getting for the nose, I'll just say that, were sweet almost appley, very nicely cherry. Like it was like almost like a Buffalo Trace product. It was good, and a good Buffalo Trace product. But then on the palate, at the front of the palate, it was like, oh, this is great, nice and sweet, nice and bright. But then it kind of goes a little sour, not sour in flavor, but like it goes a little bitter as the palate progresses. So I wouldn't recommend it with water.
Man, the palate is a little more earthy, a little more tobacco with water for me.
Definitely more earthy for sure.
It's just a flavor difference that I do kind of enjoy. Experience wise, same experience but less finish too. So yeah, definitely don't recommend with water, but like it did bring some interesting new flavors, like more tobacco, but not worth it overall.
After when you first said tobacco, I was like, I'm not totally getting that, but now I am, especially on the far end of the finish.
Yeah.
All right, got to drop a dry cube.
Yeah, like a dry leafiness to this.
Yeah, I can see that.
I like it.
All right, here's the cube. Give it the old spin J.
The cube. I have enough for one sip in my ice pour. It better be good. Better be good. Or else.
I sure hope so. I have a feeling it won't be. If the water pour kind of killed it, then we'll see.
There's something rubbery on the nose. Can I plant that idea in your head?
Yeah. You know, it's funny. I just bought a few, those like those hexagonal like dumbbells.
That
have like the rubber ends. It kind of reminds me a little bit of that. Yeah.
Yeah. It is like a new plastic product, just pulled it out of the wrapper, and it needs to air out a little bit before the rubbery smell goes away.
First sip was bitter.
Yeah, my only sip was just it. This is one of the more, how is this even the same whiskey sips? Like usually with ice, it's like, yeah, okay, just the flavor went away or whatever. But the ice on this one took it into left field, man. This is it doesn't even taste like the same whiskey. It's just
I would not buy a whiskey that tasted like this.
Yeah, that was
at all.
At the very, very end, it got a little like charcoaly. Like I could almost get barrel char more than anything on the finish note. That's weird. Back to neat. Save me, neat pour.
Yeah. Got to think of a rating.
I'm gonna. Give me a minute before rating here. I want to go back.
Go back to the
before I. There's a man back to neat now. There's so much more going on the nose. That's very, very good. It's the nose comes across. Oh yeah, like I said earlier, I said like this smells like it's gonna take you places, man. There's plenty of potency on the nose here. That's traditional brown sugary.
Ooh, oaky. You're right.
Yeah,
brown sugar is a great word there. Maybe we shouldn't have let it air out a little bit. Yeah, nice. It's like, I've always heard the comparison of like, you eat corn cereal or wheat cereal. Like you're eating corn pops versus like Wheaties. And there's a difference in sweetness. Like the sweetness for like corn pops is going to be brighter, fruitier potentially. But like Wheaties is going to be like this dull sweetness. If that
dull, yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And that's kind of what I'm getting here, at least on the nose of the neat pour again.
The palate, I have no changed opinion on the palate. The palate,
great,
is like it's almost too thin. I think it's acceptable. It's appropriate, especially at 100 proof. It's kind of, if you didn't know what whiskey you were drinking and all you knew that it was 100 proof whiskey, this like I think it would meet your expectations. But then if somebody were to say, "Oh, but this is Heaven Hill 19," you'd be like, "Oh, really? Oh, really? That's all this tastes like?" Like you'd be a little disappointed, I think.
Mm-hmm. I like this. I think this is definitely the 9+ range on the rating.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna say this is a 9.2. That's my numerical rating. I gotta look at the old while you give your score, I'm gonna look at the old rating scale.
Think about this question too. Where do you feel like sentimentally this slots in with other whiskeys that you've had? Like what is on the same caliber here? So I'll say, as I was honing in on like letter score, I think I'm in the B's, and like, and my ceiling right now is B's. Nope, doesn't count. Doesn't count. I'm not in the D's.
You're not in the D. No, that's for sure.
So B is well above average. B is clearly stands out. Like this has the age and the oakiness in the extraordinary finish here to make it stand out. Like I'm also kind of debating B-, like it more pros than cons, positive and memorable features. This is better than that. This is a B for me. It stands out. The finish really carries this. If the finish on the neat pour wasn't as long, the long tingly baking spice parallels the most to Eagle Rare 17 for me on this. Just on the finish, just on the baking spice. I don't see William LaRue Weller in this in the slightest. This does not have enough power and enough sweetness to be William LaRue Weller. That's a good point. All.
Sweetness, especially.
So I tie this more on the Eagle Rare 17 level, especially on the finish. It does clearly stand out. The age carries this through. It's barely got enough mid-palate viscosity to be delicious. But the finish is what makes you realize this really is a special pour, and it clearly stands out. So B.
I'm going to go A-. I think, in our ratings, A would be extremely solid and well-rounded. No substantial negative comment can be made. Yeah, I agree with that. But I also think it is. I think you're right about the like William LaRue portion, but I still give it a 9.2. A-. We'll go with that.
Nice. Cool.
All right. Now that we've given our ratings, I think it's time for our next segment of the show that we like to call Whiskey World News. All
right, everybody, welcome back. This is Whiskey World News, and today I am reading an article from BreakingBourbon.com. Breaking Bourbon says, this was actually as of about a week ago. New Riff unveils dual release of decade-old whiskeys. So, like them. This hit me on like a happy level here because we talk about distilleries closing and whatnot, but this is New Riff with their own distillate, from what I understand.
Yeah,
that's actually 10 years old. So
that's great.
Breaking Bourbon says, New Riff Distilling has announced the dual release of first decade Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey and first decade Kentucky straight rye whiskey, the distillery's first 10-year-old whiskeys. These releases join the distillery's High Note limited edition lineup this spring and will be available exclusively through the New Riff Whiskey Club beginning Thursday, May 22 for pickup only. No online orders, pickup only, and by the pour at the distillery's Aquifer tasting room. For more information, you can join the club for free, newriffwhiskeyclub.com, where you can place that order for pickup only. But this was exciting, though. I mean, 10-year-old. So it's a 10-year-old bourbon at 120.5 proof, 10-year-old rye at, I don't know proof, The New Riff standard bourbon mash bill is 65% corn, 30% rye, 5% malted barley. The rye mash bill is 95.5, but it is New Riff. Kentucky straight rye
you
whiskey.
would hope it is
95.5. Yeah, I know, right? But yeah, it does say Kentucky straight rye whiskey. So
not Indiana straight rye.
Yeah,
It's
right.
gotta be theirs.
Yeah. So anyway, 10 years old, New Riff. I already knew New Riff was putting out good stuff, but now they have 10-year age statements. It's exciting.
That's like one of those things where you got to applaud them, you know, because I remember when New Riff was a baby, and I remember when they were just putting out some 3-year-old stuff, and man, that's crazy to think, because one of our first, I want to say it was within our first 50 episodes, we did a New Riff, and now it's been 7 to 8 years since then. So that all adds up. So good for them for having stock that they can do into a 10-year.
Yeah, and minor correction on my part. The 95.5 is actually 95% rye, 5% malted rye.
Oh, we actually did a malted rye on
nice.
New Riff malted rye on the podcast before. So.
And I know they've got a 100% malted rye that's sherry finished that people love.
Nice.
People love that one. Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, good for you guys over at New Riff. I would love to try it. We should reach out. I don't think we've ever reached out to New Riff.
I don't think so either.
Maybe they need some publicity. Maybe they need some exposure through chill filter. Although it does say both bottled without chill filtration. Hey, that's not the name of the podcast.
Yeah, they'll see the name of the podcast and they'll be like, nah, we can't. We can't have these guys.
Change your name and come back. Yeah.
But then they'll hear our live reads and they'll be like, actually, these guys know how to do it.
Can we talk to Frank first? Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
All right. Easy one there. Moving into what whiskey would you choose? We asked you a while ago, we said, do you ever add ice? Do you actually add ice to your whiskey on your own accord? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Or do you do it when chill filter tells you to? So the yeses were at 20%. The no's were at 47% in the lead. Number one answer was no at almost half. But we did have 33% say only when chill filter recommends it. So we got a couple listeners out there who are listening to our ice takes here and maybe or maybe not.
It's rare that the ice pour is worth it. I feel like.
Yeah. But
when it is, it's worth it.
If you get a Heaven Hill 17 or 19, don't add ice.
But like Japanese or an Irish, yes, you got to try it. Yeah.
Funny you say that. The first write-in from Madtown marketer Ben Klepsik, he said Nika from the barrel. He adds,
great choice.
Well, maybe sometimes he might add ice to Nika from the barrel, and I totally agree. That'd be a great.
That's a good one to try. Yeah.
Mouth Cody Clark 88 says,
the mouth.
The mouth. Old Granddad 114. That's a great one too. I mean the youthy but like extra potency on that one. That's a great whiskey that I do really like.
The last time I've had OGD 114.
I had a bottle a while ago, but I finished it. I mean, it was good, and it's so versatile because you can sip it neat and it's good. You can make old fashions with it. You can do whatever you want with it. It fits in almost every situation.
That's a beam, right?
Yes.
Old GD, yeah,
pretty sure.
Pretty sure.
Yeah. Anyway, Whiskey Shaman wrote in. He said, during the summer, cast strength bourbon like a rare breed can get a large ice. I dig it. Nice. Paul Clarkson 21, he wrote in. He said he's watching live on YouTube. He said, I only do it rarely, and it's less about the whiskey and more about the situation. Makes sense.
That's true. That's true. If you're in a pool, for example.
Exactly. Which I think we're gonna have our first pool day next week for Memorial Day. Or wait, is that when this comes out? I don't know. Anyway, Memorial Day is
Memorial Day when this is released.
Yeah. Well, I'm in the pool right now, so I should podcast live from the pool.
Shirtless.
I was in the pool. Yeah, right.
I was in the pool. Maybe not pantsless.
Yeah. Well, you wouldn't know if I put the camera low enough. The water line. Yeah, right. I could podcast naked for all I care.
You could. Yeah.
Yep. Last write in from Mark.
Naked below the shirt right now.
True. That's true. But quick, listeners, let's convince him to pop up and grab a bottle from the shelf back there.
Yeah. Maybe it's Macallan 18, but we're still not there on Patreon yet.
So tell your friends. Yes.
Tell your friends. Yeah.
Last right in here, Marco and AZ, he said the high proofers that are like drinking gasoline, unnecessarily hot, like Jack Daniel's single barrel proof.
Oh, those could be.
I can personally attest to the fact that Jack single barrel proof stands up to ice very well. Very well. We had a bonus question last time, though. We said, how do you, dear listener, pronounce Burai? Do you say Burai or do you say Burai? And it was 29% Burai, 71% Burai. So, majority of the people sticking with the standard bourbon Burai nomenclature.
Yeah.
But a few out there are saying Burai, and I love it. I love it. I hope it comes up in conversation.
Boo-rah. That's like
hoorah. Yeah, right. This week, I had not run this by you ahead of time. Did you see the question? The question this week is, what is your summertime whiskey? What is your I'm in the pool, or what is your I just mowed the lawn and I came back inside, so I want to have a pour of something? What is your summertime whiskey? And I'll go first to give you a little extra time here. My summertime whiskey is Old Forester Rye 100 proof.
That's a killer bottle. Even their 86er is good. Yeah.
So I haven't had the low proofer Old Foresters before. I haven't had the need
for the value. It's incredible.
I know. I haven't had the need to buy a whole bottle of one of those Old Forester lower proofers, but I have had the need to buy the 100 proof rye because I love ryes, and that 100 proofer, it's even in like whiskey sours and everything. It's so good, but it's my summertime whiskey because it is light and low proof and flavorful. So Old Forester 100 proof.
Light, low proof, and flavorful. Except for sometimes not low proof. But I'll give an example. Well, actually, okay. So I had a single barrel strength or barrel proof Jack Daniels, and I had some ice in front of me. And Marco ain't wrong.
Yeah.
Marco ain't wrong. It's incredible. It's really sweet. It's really balanced. It's not overwhelming like typically they can be. Digging it right now. So thanks, Marco, for that suggestion recommendation. My answer, though, it goes with a lot of answers, but I haven't used it in a while. But it's Redbreast 12 cast strength. Like,
oh yeah,
so summery, so sweet, so balanced, so tropical, fruity, and yet light at the same time. And it goes well with ice. Like wait, did I just give that answer last week?
Maybe, but it's perfectly applicable.
Yeah. No, I think I gave it for like the secondary thing. If I'm gonna add ice, it's gonna be Redbreast 12 cast strength. So yeah. I still got a bottle thanks to Bryan.
Yeah, that's right.
And but it'll go quick this summer. I can assure you of that. So
yeah,
it's exciting. Yeah,
I'm sure.
Summer's good. It's coming.
Bonus question. Bonus. You came up with this earlier this episode, whether you knew it or not. And the bonus question this week is, do you pronounce it aunt or aunt?
It actually depends.
Well, so you said aunt many times earlier this episode. So you're on aunt whether you like it or not.
So. Well, I call my aunts, I call them aunts. Like Aunt Kathy, Aunt Maggie. But I call my sister, to my children, I say Auntie Kate or Auntie Amanda. Okay, so I guess it is going to depend. But I have said aunt a lot. I think I probably say aunt more. I would say if I'm not referring to someone, I'll say, hey, this is someone's aunt. But my aunts are my aunts.
Nice.
But that's a Philly thing, I think.
Your tiny little six-legged creatures crawling around. Those are your aunts.
All right. Yeah,
for sure.
Aunt Mary, Aunt Maggie, Aunt Kathy, Aunt Liz.
Yeah. In that little colony
and Aunt Betsy.
In the backyard. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've ever said aunt in my entire life. So I'm team aunt 100%. Nice. Yeah. So curious what you think. Curious what you say.
It's funny that I refer to some people's aunt, but some people's aunt. I guess I just grew up with it being aunt. I guess.
Hey, I mean, some aunts are just fancier and they deserve the term aunt.
Shout out to Aunt Kathy, who's the fancy aunt.
Oh, wait. So then she should be Aunt Kathy.
Aunt Kathy. It just feels weird. Aunt Kathy. It just feels weird. So
love it. Well, next week, sir.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have no idea.
We have a 2023 William LaRue. Do you want to put that against something?
We could drink that and the 2019 at the same time.
We have a 2019 as well.
Don't we? Yeah, we got the
we have
Bryan
a 2021, and that one's in the pool. I'm not taking that one out of the pool.
Oh, it's 21. That's what. That's what I was thinking of.
No, that one's like gonna be a Rock My World, hopefully, pool sample. Because I want that one to be a surprise. Yeah,
it's been long enough. Let's just do the 2023 William LaRue. And like people were saying this stands up to William LaRue. Let's do William LaRue next week and see how well we rate it.
Let's see. Yeah, if it stands up to the truth.
That sounds good to me too.
All right, keep an eye out next week on June 1st. No, June 2nd.
After the drink along.
After the drink along.
Squeaking into in May here. The May drink along on May 31st. I dig it.
Yeah. That's great.
I hope that before we hope.
Yeah.
Oh, this is weird. That I get the chance to explain what I'm doing right now. I'm drinking a dessert pour right now.
Oh, you're gonna be too drunk for the reentry buzz.
Good for you, because it's 3-3 right now. By the way, I am drinking a final little bit from this Parker's Heritage 24 year.
Oh, good for you. Good for you.
Does it live up? For you.
Does it live up to the recollection?
It does.
Do you want to talk about that, or you want to not talk about that?
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, it's a bottle that I will get someday, and I keep my eyes open on many avenues, and I'm hopeful that someday in the near future I will finally be able to obtain this bottle. But it is just light years beyond the Heaven Hill 19. It is.
I believe
it. There is this sample bottle, I poured half of it in a blind that I did the other day. Actually, let me see if I can't pull that up real quick. But my takeaway from that blind was that there was we used je ne sais quoi a bunch.
The old je ne sais quoi.
There was this something about it that I was able to relate to Sazerac 18. I got the name Sagamore stuck in my head, and I was like, Sagamore 18. I was like, that's not a thing, yet. Right? God, I will that bottle. I would do anything for Sagamore 18. Yeah. But anyway, it hit like a Saz 18. It's got this tingly rye spice. No, I don't want to use the word tingly. It's got this oaky, which were you
referring to again?
I'm referring to the Parker's Heritage 24.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Keep going.
The Parker's 24 year. It's the 10th release.
10th edition. Yeah.
Yep. It has this super high age oakiness that mellowed out this high rye bourbon mash bill spice that it comes across the same way as developed as Sazerac 18 is, and more, because it has the corny sweetness backbone to carry the palate further than Saz 18 even does. And when I did this blind the other day, where I blinded this against Eagle Rare 17 2024, Elijah Craig 18, and another bottle that I won't mention for really dumb reasons.
Dude, ER 2024.
Yeah, dude, I know. And that was second place here. That was second place to the Parker's Heritage. But I poured myself. The relation to Saz 18 triggered my memory so hard that I was like, I have to go pour Sazerac 18 right now just to see if I'm even right about this. And the Saz 18 landed thin compared to this Parker's 24 year,
and compared to Eagle Rare 17.
Well, yes, actually, you're totally right about that. Yeah.
At least this year. Yeah.
The confirmation here is this. The Parker's is just light years even beyond the Heaven Hill 19. Hopefully,
I love it when you try your favorite whiskey again and you're like, it still holds up, you know.
Confirmation. So. And I did it in a blind, man. I did it against 3 other whiskeys too, and it clearly stood out as the winner.
Nice. That's cool. I hope you find it.
Oh God, I hope I do too. Big time.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I found my white whale, my ultimate white whale.
I know.
So, I mean, the hard thing is they're both the same year, the same vintage. It's 2016.
That's extra cool too.
It's a cool year.
What it really comes down to is I hope I have the willingness to shell out when it's finally time.
I hope that your price. I don't hope. But your your bottle's worth half as much as my bottle is.
That's true.
At the secondary. So I think you'll pull it off.
I hope so.
If you don't, we'll figure it out. It's almost like next year it'll be a 10-year-old vintage. So that's crazy. Yeah.
Oh God. I hope I hurry up then.
Yeah. I hope you find it today. But most of all, everyone, we hope that our love of whiskey lifted your spirits.
Never cared.
What's that other sport?
Wins or loses though.
Football. I can watch, but it's less enjoyable to me than than baseball.